Hello, good afternoon students. So today I'll begin class. Okay, whatever we did yesterday, it's a continuation from there. Okay. So what is class? Class is a group of objects which have common properties. That means as I said you yesterday, that for example fruit, so we can consider fruit as a class. Okay, since fruits means what? It's a collection of what? Suppose if we consider fruit, then we can consider apple, mango, banana, orange, etc. They are termed as an object. Okay, so if we unite all those objects, so it's of similar kind, and remember, it should not be of dissimilar kind. That means suppose there is a apple, mango, banana, orange, and there are certain pens, book, pencil, eraser, etc. So if we unite all those things, so that can't be considered as a class. Why? Because within that class we are having dissimilar objects. Okay, so remember, in object oriented programming language we can consider class that of similar objects should be of similar type. Okay, suppose I said apple, mango, banana, orange, etc. They all belongs to the same type, that is fruit. Okay, so that's why we can consider all those objects in one class. So that's why class is known as what? A group of objects which have common properties. Okay, which has common properties. So in other ways, it is also defined as a template or a blueprint from which objects are created. So it is known as what? Template or blueprint from where the objects are created with the help of this. So it can also be known as a logical entity, not the physical. Okay, just the logical entity means, as I said yesterday only, that entity is nothing but we can say it's a name of a person, place, thing. In English we call it noun, no? So similarly out here, entity means a noun that can be the name of a person, place, thing, anything. Okay, fine. So now we are going to move. So see here, a class in Java. So what does the Java? While we write a program in Java, that means inside under the class, what are used or what does it contains? So the first one is field, F-I-E-L-D-S, fields. Field can also be known as variables. Okay, and the second one is method. Method is also known as function, and the third one is constructor. Okay, though you have to study this constructor in class 10, even though we will just go a rough idea. Okay, and the fourth one is what? Block. So what do you mean by block? Block is nothing but as we had written a program yesterday, no, we had written public static void main, and then we opened the curly brace open, and at the end we had closed. So whenever we open the brace, whatever is written within the brace, whatever is written within the brace is known as block. Okay, and the last one is what? Nested class and interface. Right now this is not included in your syllabus in class 9. Okay, even though we will have a brief. Nested class means, what do you mean by nested? Means one class inside the another class is known as nested. Fine. Okay, see the diagram. In order to make some interesting, I have made one diagram also. So classes in Java. So what does the class contain? So see, it contains field, method, constructor, blocks, nested class and interface. Fine. Okay, so now we are going to know the next, that is the syntax to declare a class. Okay, so how do we write a class while writing the program? The syntax, okay, the syntax is the rules and the regulation. So how we can create a class, how we can declare a class? So class is, by default we have to write this class for all the program, and class name. So class name can be written anything on the basis, on the idea or the way the program is given, or whatever the question says. Write down the name of the class as this or that. So on the basis of the question we write accordingly the class name. Okay, then curly brace open and curly brace close. Inside this curly braces we write down the variables and the methods. Right now only we had discussed field, method and block. See, block means this bracket open, bracket close. Whatever we write inside this bracket, so that is known as blocks. Fine. Okay, so let's move on to the next. Okay, see here. So now we are going to discuss another important features of object oriented, that is encapsulation. So what is encapsulation? So encapsulation is nothing, just see in this diagram. Okay, first before going through the definition, just a minute. Okay, see in this diagram. So what does this diagram seems like? It seems just like a capsule, no? It's a tablet, it's a medicine, okay, plastic coated capsule. So think this outline boundary, okay, outline border, this coated capsule is a class. Fine. So inside the class, that means inside the plastic, inside that capsule, what is present? Certain liquids, certain not liquid, powders are present, no? Means the medicine, isn't it? So out here, think this powder out here, it's green and yellow color, and this yellow denotes the method, means the function, and this green dots or circles denotes the variable. That means, what does this encapsulation says? That it's just a wrapping up of, okay, combination of wrapping up of data, means the variables. Data is known as variables, and functions, that is method. The wrapping up of datas and functions, or the wrapping up of variables and method within a single unit of class is known as what? Encapsulation. Clear? It's very simple. What encapsulation says, that this is just like a capsule. The logic works like a capsule. The outer coat denotes the class, and inside that plastic coated the powders are present. Think that powder out here is the variables and method. Say do the variables and method, they perform their operation among themselves and they produce the desired outcomes. Okay, so this is the way we can define that class. After that class, inside we give the brace. Inside the brace we declare the variable name and the functions whatever we use. Okay, so now let's go to the definition. The wrapping up of data members is known as variables, and member method is known as function within a single unit of class is known as what? Encapsulation. Very simple. Okay, so now move on to the next. So next one is data abstraction. Okay, so now This is also one of the very important features of object-oriented programming language. Clear? So now tell me, what is data abstraction? Okay, before going this, I would like to say that most of you play games, isn't it? You play 3D games and all. You play PUBG, isn't it? Yes. So now the thing is, what we do is whenever the new games comes, we just download it and we started playing by knowing its rules and regulation. Fine, but have we or do we bother that what programming language or who have created this programming language, what animations or who have animated this, what are the procedures? Means what I'm trying to say is we just use the applications, okay, without knowing its background details. Okay, for example, we create an account, clear, but we are least bothered that what we are withdrawing or what we can deposit, whatever else. Clear? So data abstraction says that we just use the application without knowing its background detail. Clear? So I have written the definition out here, that it is the act of representing essential features without knowing the background detail. So for example, see out here in the diagram, okay, see in the red circular box out here, okay, we might not need all this customer information for a banking application. See here we have filled up the form, full name, address, contact number, tax information, favorite food, favorite movie, favorite actor and favorite brand. Though you have your all choices, but it's not mandatory out here. While creating a banking application, we don't require all this. Just outside this rectangular box, see, full name, address, contact, tax information. So this is enough for the banking service. So other things are not necessary. The detailed information is not required for creating an account. So this concept is known as what? Data abstraction. Clear? Okay, fine. So now comes polymorphism. This is also very important. In class 10, the very important questions comes using programming also. 15 marks program comes using this polymorphism. Okay, now actually what is polymorphism? Okay, so before going the definition, just go through this diagram. See out here in the first rectangular box, what I have written? Shape. And below the shape I have written what? Draw, bracket open and bracket close. So as I said yesterday, that function, okay, what is function? So how we can say that this is a function or this is not a function? Remember one thing. So function, how we can say that this is a function? So after any name, okay, after any name, whenever we see this curly bracket, this first bracket, okay, circle bracket, so after any name, whenever we see such kind of brackets, we call it as a function. Okay, so the name of the class out here is what? Shape, and this draw is the name of the function. Okay, now let's go down. So this is another class, that is what? Triangle. This is another class known as rectangle, and this is another class known as what? Circle. Clear? So what common you are seeing out here in this figure? The common is that, see, this is the parent class and all these are the child class. Means all the three child class are accessing the same function. See, we are having the same function. Whatever the function is present in the parent class, draw, that itself is out here in the triangular circle, triangular class, rectangular class, and in circle class. Okay, though triangle means it can be, its shape may be different, but the function name is same. See out here, all they are having the same function name, though their work may be different. Okay, though their internal work may be different, but the name of the function, okay, the name of the function is same out here. Okay, so can we use such kind of work in our programming language? Can we use such facilities are there, so that by using just one name, we can do so many works. Okay, clear? So now let's go to the definition. See, polymorphism means it is defined as one function name having more than one form. Right? Once again I am repeating. So polymorphism is what? One function name. See, the name of the function is draw out here also. In all the three classes we are having the same function name. Clear? But there are more forms. See, this is a triangular form, this is rectangular form, this is what? Circle. Clear? So that's why polymorphism says that one function having more than one forms is known as polymorphism. So it is one of the important principle of object oriented programming which supports function overloading. Very, very important term. What? Function overloading. Okay, let's highlight this. Function overloading. Okay, this is very important term that you need to know. Function overloading is nothing but a class having same function name. Same, the definition will be same for function overloading. Means function overloading or polymorphism are known to each other and vice versa. Okay, polymorphism is itself known as function overloading, or function overloading itself is known as what? Polymorphism. Clear? Okay, the last feature of object oriented programming is inheritance. So now, what is inheritance? Okay, this is also very interesting part. Okay, this is also very interesting feature of object oriented programming language. Now see here in this diagram. Okay, so there is one class. What? Employee. This is the name of the class. What? Employee. And this is what? The name of the another class is what? Program. Clear? So what does this inheritance says that? So think this is the base class. This is the what? Base class. Okay, employee is known as the base class or parent class out here, and think this programmer is known as the what? Derived class or child class. So now what is this parent and derived is that? So when this concept inheritance comes is that, suppose somebody or this employee is the first class that has created or that has done its work. Okay, that has written its program. So now the programmer is the another class. Suppose while writing the program he requires the same features or function that this class has used. This class has done whatever the thing or whatever the variables or the function this employee class has written, the same thing is being acquired by this class programmer. If he wants the same thing from him and he want to add some more of his own, so instead of writing the coding written by this employee class, so this programmer he just can reuse from him, reuse from his parent class. So this concept is known as inheritance. And from whom I am inheriting, from whom I am accessing, from whom I want to access, from employee. Who wants to access? This programmer. So employee is known as the base class and programmer is known as what? Derived class or child class. Clear? So now let's go to the definition. So what is inheritance? It is a mechanism in which one object acquires all the properties and behavior of parent object. Okay, so what does it says is nothing, as I had already explained you out here. So whatever are the properties of this one class, okay, properties of this object of one class can acquire by the other. It can be acquired by the other. Means this programmer can acquire the properties of this employee class. Okay. Understood now? Okay. So in one technical term, inheritance can be defined as the term reusability. What? Remember this term reusability. REUSABILITY. Okay, write down this. Inheritance can be defined by a technical keyword known as reusability. Fine. Okay. Now let's go some brief idea. So forget this. Okay, right now. So you just go through this. This types of inheritance. Okay, just a brief. Okay, theoretical questions may come. So in Java, okay, in inheritance, what are the types of inheritance? So number one is single inheritance, number two is multi-level, third one is hierarchical, okay, and the fourth one is what? Multiple inheritance, and the fifth one is hybrid. Okay, so now let's go through and explain you in a brief. So actually, what is single inheritance? See in this diagram, the arrow is gone up. It means that one class can acquire the properties of from one class only. So that means, as I have described in the previous pic, that employee was known as the base class. So out here class A is known as the base or parent class, and class B is known as the derived or child class. So